ULEZ, an independent garage association, ADAS survey in the USA, Charged More to Charge, Stellantis remanufacturing parts in the USA, Charles Hurst, Mustang sub 7 Nürburgring, Apple people going to Ford. Hello and welcome to this week's Motors End News. I'm Paul Callum. ULEZ, you may or may not have heard of this. It's in the news around London at the moment. Ultra low emission zone. It's been expanded in London, and the Independent Garage Association has been talking to Transport for London because they're saying that garages within this new zone are fearful now that people who have non-compliant cars who live outside the zone won't come to their garage to get service work and MOT done. And it is a very interesting thing when you look at it, that if your garage is positioned in the wrong place, you could lose an inordinate amount of business. They're talking to Transport for London, but I don't think they're really getting anywhere. This comes into place on the 29th of August. And the reason I'm talking about it is because I think at some stage it's going to be introduced for cities around Ireland as well, and I think it's something we need to sit up and be aware of and be almost getting ready for the day that it does come. They also, the Independent Garage Association has also brought up the fact that the ability to get vehicles retrofitted, there's only 3 companies in the UK doing them, so whether this is an opportunity down the line, but they're saying looking to get Euro 4, Euro 5 retrofitted to Euro 6. There is a grant in the UK for this for small businesses up to 50 employees, and what's happening now is some people who are running a fleet of vans that are Euro 5, 3, 4, Euro 5 are saying, look, we can't get them converted. There's not enough capacity to get them converted, and the deadline is coming on the August 29th. It's £12.50 if your vehicle goes into this zone and is non-compliant. So the reason I'm talking about it is I think it's going to come to Ireland, and I think it's something we have to start thinking about. ADAS, yeah, I know it's been around. We've been talking about it for years. I'm becoming more aware of talking to drivers who are experiencing the car starting to brake for itself. This is starting to happen now. Just drivers saying, oh, you wouldn't believe it, the car did this. So people are becoming more aware of it, but I think there's a study been done in America by the University of North Carolina, and it said that if full ADAS was introduced now, it would save 250,000 lives over the next 30 years in America. It would reduce crashes. It would reduce 37 million crashes and 14 million injuries. Now, the figure that stands out on this is quite astounding, the decrease in crashes. So the amount of business and work that's going to come from crash vehicles now is clearly going to radically reduce, according to as ADAS becomes more common. Right now in America, they say that a quarter of the vehicles have got emergency braking and or blind spot. They reckon there'll be up to half by 2027. But in this survey, they also work out that there needs to be more done to properly educate the driver about the benefits of ADAS. So I think, look, yeah, you're going to lose it on the crashes and crash work for the workshop, but I think the work that will come from ADAS may compensate for this, because I think eventually calibration on the ADAS is going to become a massive part of a workshop. And yes, I know everybody's looked at it and looked at the equipment now, but I think it is finally going to come down the line that we're going to have to really focus on it and start to develop the skills within the workshops for it. Charged More to Charge. In Ireland, the cost of charging an EV vehicle has gone up by almost 19% from the beginning of 2022 to the end of 2022. Ireland is the 9th most expensive country in Europe to charge. What they've worked out now, they work it out in 100 kilometres. So what they're saying is in Ireland at the moment it's costing €5.79 to travel 100 kilometres in an EV vehicle. These are average figures. And again, even though the costing has gone up by 19% in the space of a year, EV sales are still massively on the increase, and from January to July there was 18,458 EV vehicles sold in Ireland. Kosovo is the cheapest place in Europe at €3.92. Stellantis, this is a story we covered last year about Stellantis developing this remanufacturing stroke circular economy in Europe. And when you look at this, really, I keep coming back to it. This is Stellantis, the biggest car company in the world now, and they're going into scrapping cars, breaking cars. This story is about America. They're starting the same concept they're developing in Europe. They're starting it in America. Stripping end-of-life vehicles, cleaning the parts up, remanufacturing the parts. They reckon it'll be a €2 billion business by 2030, and it's fascinating because old school we say this is a breaker yard. Now they keep emphasising on the remanufacturing. But when they look at the environmental statistics on this, and that seems to be what this is about. It's about these brands being able to say, look how much we're doing, look how clean we are. They're saying that by doing this, by using these parts, they're cutting emissions by half and they're reducing raw materials by 80%. So these seems to be the numbers that they're interested in to promote themselves as being environmentally friendly. And to be fair, it is, because at the end of the day, these guys would sell new parts off the shelf instead of selling these reconditioned, remanufactured parts. But it is bringing them into an area of business that they haven't been in or are not that experienced in. And it's going to be interesting to watch how this develops out, because it looks like you're going to be able to buy your remanufactured part through your dealer parts counter. So that's going to be interesting when it starts to really come on stream. Charles Hurst represents over 20 brands in Northern Ireland. They've got 2 sites in the Republic of Ireland. The brands go from Ferrari to Vauxhall. They've also taken on Aura and BYD, as in the new Chinese products. They're also taking on now Seat Cupra. They've never had Seat Cupra in all the years they've existed. They've never had Seat Cupra in their range. One of the reasons they're taking this brand on is because these brands have increased their sales performance in the UK by 90%. The year 21 they sold 7,584. In the year 22 they sold 14,383. So a good brand to be with now. But the organisation Charles Hurst, which is owned by the Lucas Group, has spent a lot of money in the last couple of years. Last year they spent £8 million. They've done up their Toyota dealerships, 2.2 million. They've spent 1 million on their Nissan, 2 Nissan branches in Belfast and 1 Newton Ards. They've spent 3 million on the parts centre on the Bosher Road as well. Now they're also integrating and setting up a new showroom for Lotus. So now they're going to represent Lotus, Ferrari, Maserati, Bentley and Aston. So, you know, quite a portfolio of product and a lot of investment gone into the facilities in Northern Ireland. So a big vote of confidence there for the car business in Northern Ireland. I think this is what you might call stretching the brand. Ford have launched a new Mustang, and for the last year or 2 or 3 we've been associating Mustang with electric and thinking that's it. They're trying to use the motorsport heritage of the Mustang brand and use it to sex up electric a bit more. But in this car here they've gone old school, mid-engined, set back. They call it mid-engine, but it's completely set back as far as it possibly can be. It's based on the Dark Horse model that comes off the production line, and then it goes to a company called Multimatic. They do the carbon fibre wide body kit, they do the suspension, they do the brakes, they do the engine. It's been called the GTD, which most people who will listen to this will regard a GTD as a Golf turbo diesel. In this case, it's the GT representing GT Racer and the D representing Daytona. It's got a 5.2 litre V8, dry sumped, red line at 7,500 RPM, pushing out 800 brake horsepower, mated up to a carbon fibre drive shaft that's driving a gearbox, 8-speed gearbox that's on the back axle. So the weight balance is very good on it. But the claim being made for this vehicle is that they want to go to Nürburgring and they want to get it under 7 minutes. Now, getting under 7 minutes is bringing you into some very rarefied performance vehicles. Porsche GT2 RS in September 17 did a 6.47, and then they beat that with a performance enhanced model in June 21 with a 6.41. Mercedes AMG GT has a 6.43 in November 20. So that's the company that Ford are in with this car. Now, this is reminiscent of the GT40 days when Ford wanted to go and beat Ferrari in Le Mans. So it's kind of similar to that in telling of the story. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, has also said that he will take on any other automotive boss in a GTD. Now, a lot of CEOs, first of all, mightn't be racers, and secondly, mightn't have a vehicle in their range that can perform at this level. But that is not an empty threat, because Jim Farley does possess a bronze FIA license, so he is a racer. He knows how to drive. This thing is going on sale. It's going into production at the end of 24 and going on sale in 25. Former VP of Apple Services has been recruited by Ford, and this is more of the new thinking and new technology. So this is an Apple guy joining a car company. Peter Stern has been recruited, and he's going to head up a new division within Ford called Ford Integrated Services. And the press release on this said that this company, or this division within the company, will create and market experiences for ICE, EV and commercial customers. So create and market experiences. Hard to work that out, but then I suppose when you say that this guy's an Apple guy, you can see it must be somewhere to do with infotainment and all that side of the vehicle. And I think what we're realizing is that these items on the vehicle is what's attracting younger buyers to vehicles. So an interesting move there by Ford to get Apple guys on board. They've been known for hiring Apple guys before, so they're bringing this kind of new media technology with them across the Ford, so they can perhaps integrate them into the cars in new innovative ways. That's it for this week. Getting a nice following on LinkedIn, All Trade People. If you could share it, if you could, and give us a thumbs up if you could, and see you again next week. Thanks a lot.